Hello and welcome to another episode of The Recruitment Doctor with me, your host, Dan Hoff Rodriguez. Today, I want to quickly go over what a candidate looks for when they're considering a move and what they're looking for in an organisation and a future employer. So obviously, the job of a recruiter is clear. And one thing I do want to really emphasise here is that a job of a recruiter is not just to send a CV, but there should be a clear set of notes and objectives to discuss and describe what the motivations are of a candidate. So you as an employer should have a really good understanding of what that candidate's motivations, their reasons for leaving are, so you're able to look at how that fits within your organisation. And they should be fairly detailed. That candidate should have a good understanding of you as a brand, your company, the role, the responsibilities, and a lot of the pointers I'm about to touch on. But it's all about matching. So that candidate should be joining your organisation, or at least have a really good understanding or a rough skeleton of the opportunity before they even come in for interview. And then down to you, as I've always said, it's a two-way street for you to completely go into the details of your opportunity in a lot more detail and really market that. So here are a list of what we have seen for, to be of interest, at the top of the list of what a candidate looks for in an employer, in an opportunity. So straight away, obviously really attractive salary and benefits package. Now, obviously the salary, it's all around how that market rate looks, but don't think that a candidate won't consider taking a sideways step, and in some cases taking a salary drop to join you. I think it's all about the opportunity, the bigger picture, and considering all as a whole of the different things that you as an employer can obviously offer. And with that comes the benefits package. I talk about benefits a lot, and benefits can just be monetary in terms of the sense of pension, bonuses, but then think about the other things like healthcare and life insurance. But also the other things that you guys offer. Is it merch? Is it tech? The benefits package can encompass a number of the points that I'm going to touch on, such as training and development and career progression, but also things like 4-day weeks, and how you invest in them, with things like mental health, first aid training, CSR. It's all these different things which I will touch on briefly. So something that's obviously been a big talking point at the moment has been remote working. Now, if you are going to offer remote working, you've got to make sure your infrastructure is in place. But a candidate is really keen on that at the moment. But some people aren't. Like myself, I've got 3 kids running around the house. Sometimes that's just not good for a working environment. So do check in with them, because everyone is different. So if you are going to offer it, that's great, but make sure you're offering it with a lot of flexibility. And that takes me to work-life balance. For me, work-life balance is massive in this environment. If people have got kids or commitments outside of their life, outside of their working life, things like, sports, social clubs, or if they've got kids in school and they need to do the pickup, just having that work-life balance is really something that doesn't cost a lot and actually will give your employees a lot of buy-in with you. That touches on nicely to flexible working. Now, if you are going to have flexible working is quite a muddy term. So if you're going to do flexible working, look at what that looks like. Is that core hours? If you're going to have flexible working, are you able to say, okay, if you've got something that's on a Monday morning, or something that's come up on a Tuesday afternoon, don't worry, just make sure that you check in with us and you're able to make up the time. Flexible working, I think, is a great benefit. It's a great thing to have in your organisation, because I think rigid hours in this current climate maybe isn't the way to go, but obviously it depends on the needs of your organisation. Job security. A lot of people are going to do their research. They're going to go on things like Glassdoor. They're going to go and do reviews on your organisation from things like Google reviews, and speak to people that perhaps they know that are working for your organisation or have worked for your organisation. So Job security is a big thing, and obviously it's not just around how financially sound your organisation is, but it's obviously the way that your churn has been with people that have been coming in and leaving. So just keep an eye on that. Another thing that I think people look for, career progression. Now, obviously, for me, career progression should be matched again to the candidate in question, but also I think it's around how you are able to sort of really define what career progression looks like in your organisation and describe it if someone's coming in for interview. So if you've got a big development team or you've got a small development team and there's opportunities for scaling and growth, please do try and define that and look at what the opportunities are for them to progress within the business. Sometimes they'll come in for interview and not really talk about these things, but actually it's something that they do consider heavily, especially if they are interviewing with another organisation that is talking about it a lot. So trying to find the parameters of what is available for that person in that organisation. And PS, career progression doesn't just mean moving up the ladder to senior developer, team lead, manager. Career progression could look like just being a project lead. Some people don't want to manage a team. They do maybe just want to take more of a hands-on approach, be more customer facing. So again, something to really sell and market on at interview and in your branding before interview. And I think that fits nicely to training. People want investment in themselves. Is that certification, a formal certification, or is that just something in terms of being able to have training days? I think learning and development is massive in this day and age, especially within the technical in the technology market. So it's something that is constantly moving within the tech industry, and I'm sure it's moving in other industries as well. But try and put a clear training and development plan in place, and again understand what those future employees of yours are looking for. So senior leadership teams and strong leadership and good management. Something that a lot of reasons are a candidate will leave an organisation. Sometimes it's not just about it, and I have addressed this in a previous video. Check the link for that in the comments below and the description below. But ultimately, you've got to have a really good communicative and outlined senior leadership team. And that message and that vision should really come down towards your management team as well. And how you empower your staff is absolutely critical. But ultimately, the reason relationships break down within managers and their staff is largely down to lack of comms and lack of direction and clear descriptions of what is needed from them. So really try and hone in on that. I think investment in technology and innovation is as important as well. Is your product going in the right direction? I know it's selling well now, but what enhancements, what innovation, what investment in tech are you making? And ultimately, that can also spiral down to projects as well. How can your project variation be spread out between the team to make their role as varied as possible, to keep them motivated, keep that job as challenging as possible. And that culture piece, which I always harp on about, what does your culture look like? How are you promoting that culture? What are your values? Why did you set up the business? Just really talk about your story. Storytelling in this modern world is something that's so important to get buy-in as to why someone will want to join your organization. And that touches on things that you do within the community, such as CSR, and how you're being, how you're really sharing diversity of ideas across the business, not in terms of just how you hire diversely, but how you're including everyone that's in that organization to share ideas. And that diversity of thought is such an important thing at the moment. So if you're going to say that you're going to be diverse, you've got to really show that you're being diverse, not just through how you're hiring diversely. And by the way, that is around people of color, LGBTQ, gender, disability. You've got to look in the whole picture. So if you say you're going to do it, you've got to really practice what you're preaching. And lastly, company reputation. If you do all these things well, I promise you, your reputation in the market is going to be absolutely amazing, and it's going to be strong. And those are what we think you need to focus on in terms of what candidates are looking for and how you can really shape it. So thank you. I'm going to be out of here now. I'd like to get your thoughts. I'm sure I've missed something. You as candidates, what are you looking for in an organisation? You tell me. I'm out of here. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll be back. Take care.